Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Alain, and happy 70th anniversary to Disneyland. Today marks 70 years. Disneyland opened on July 17th, 1955. So it's been going for 70 years, and what an empire Disney has grown to. You know, Disneyland was the only park that Walt actually was part of. He had the vision for Florida, but he died before Florida was completed. His brother Roy completed that. So Disneyland was the only park that Walt was a part of. And as a huge fan of Walt, I admire what he did. I admire how he thought. I admire how he did things. You know, I have to celebrate the park. And you can see my shirt and my mug are coordinated today. So I got the Walt mug with the partner statue. I got the partner statue on the shirt. And I even brought over the partner statue from my bookshelf, one of my bookshelves. You know, I love that statue. It's in the different parks, and it's right there in the Disneyland park as well. I could have had one of my Ronald Reagan mugs today. Ronald Reagan, because what some people don't know is Ronald Reagan was there opening day of Disneyland, July 17th, 1955. He was one of the commentators because they broadcast the opening of Disneyland on television. So Ronald Reagan was there. I could have used one of his mugs, but I had to use the Walt mug that coordinated with the shirt for Disneyland. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Vicky. I appreciate you guys being here and saying hello. One of the things I liked is just the way Walt thought and the visions that he had. And when he started to build or think about building Disneyland, his wife asked him a question, and I love this quote. When I started on Disneyland, my wife used to say, "But why do you want to build an amusement park? They're so dirty." I told her that was just the point. Mine wouldn't be. And he did create a park that was different than all the others. And it's still going 70 years later, stronger than ever. And they just opened a new animatronic Walt Disney display. It's where the Lincoln one is, which Walt was part of creating that the Lincoln display. Now there's actually a Walt, and that opens today, and be one more reason for me to go back to Disneyland. Last time I was there, we saw something I'd never seen before, and that was inside Walt's apartment. He had the apartment above the fire station there because he used to stay there, and he used to travel and walk around the park all hours of the night, visit with people, and stay at that little apartment that's above the fire station. If you walk into Disneyland right there at the beginning and you look over to the left as you walk in, you'll see that fire station. His apartment is that window upstairs. You can see a lamp in that window. And you got to pay a little extra to do a special tour that will take you up, and you can go inside that apartment and see that apartment. They take small groups up there when you're on that tour. And my wife and daughter and I did that last time, and it was really cool. Now with this new feature that they have, they're going to show some other things of Walt's history and so forth. And so I think that'll be a pretty cool display to see, you know, if you like the history and so forth of things. You know, that's part of what I really like. And when you go on that tour, you also learn, you know, the tour we did last time we were there a couple of years ago, you learn other little things. Like when you go down that main street, there's a place where you can go off to the right and see this brick wall. If you look close, there's different bricks in the wall. And that's because Walt wanted that built so he could actually see the bricks to determine which he wanted. If you're paying attention, there's names and different people, important figures, and people that helped with Disneyland on the different buildings. You go up, and I think it's on the left side of Main Street as you're walking toward the castle. There's one of the buildings that has red and white light bulbs. If you go look really close, the light bulb in the corner is painted half red, half white, because they had the wrong number of lights when they got finished. They couldn't alternate, and so they painted one half white, half red. There's little things like that all through the park, just to make it consistent. They didn't want two red ones together, two white ones together, so they painted it just to make it. And Walt was interested in those kind of details, which I just really enjoyed. And so I thought that was just really cool to do that tour. I think this new display and thing will be really cool to visit. And there's a lot that can be learned, especially when it comes to customer service and pleasing people and so forth from Walt, and the way he acted and such. I mean, even when he was rich and famous for being Walt Disney, he was still down to earth and told people, call me Walt. When they say Mr. Disney, he's like, yeah, I'm Walt. Okay. And so just a lot about him that I respected and admired and I've studied. And so that's why I wanted to say happy anniversary to Disney. Dixon's here, and Dixon says it's also World Emoji Day, so enjoy that too. Thanks, Dixon. So everybody, go out and make it a fantastic day, a terrific Thursday. Tomorrow's Coffee with Alain is going to be very short because as soon as I'm off Coffee with Alain tomorrow, instead of heading up the mountain with Rocky, I'm heading to the surgeon, see what we can find out more about the wrist. So hopefully get something and it'll be going toward. It doesn't seem like it's getting better, so I don't know. We'll talk to the surgeon tomorrow and see what he thinks, but it's going to be a very short Coffee with Alain. Appreciate those that show up and watch. Appreciate those watching replays or listening to the podcast. Be sure to go to enjoylifesafely.com. Lots of good stuff for you there. Make it a terrific Thursday. I will see you for a short Coffee with Alain tomorrow.